What is up, everybody? Tegan here with High Point, and today's video is all about the mount that bridges the gap between the Skywatcher EQ6R and the EQ8, that is the CQ-350. Let's take a look. Alright, so first is an unboxing. We're going to see what comes with the CQ-350, and then we're going to get into the mount specifications, balancing, the ports, the accessories, the bells and whistles, everything that you need to know about the CQ-350 if you're looking for a new mount. Now, we would love to do a performance review on this mount, but unfortunately the clouds have been rampant, so until we get clear skies, we will be just focusing on the technical specifications and everything else that you may need to know. And as always, make sure you look down below at the timeline because we've provided chapters, section out this video in case you want to skip ahead. The mount head comes with a hand controller cable, a power cable, a USB 3.0 cable, a snap cable, a USB 3.0 repeater, a hand controller strap, two 22-pound counterweights, a counterweight bar, hex bolts for the counterweight bar, hex bolts for the mount head, and obviously a very nice set of instructions. Alright, so now that we have everything unboxed, I'm going to show you a short demonstration of how to set up the entire mount, including the tripod and the mount head itself. Okay, so first you just want to set up your tripod. Go ahead and evenly spread out the tripod legs. Next, on the mount head, you want to loosen the azimuth knobs and place the mount head onto the tripod head so that the post sticking up from the tripod head sits in between the azimuth adjustment knobs underneath the mount head. Next, you want to seat the mount head to the tripod by threading the shaft that sits in between the tripod legs. Next, thread the short hex bolts down onto either side of the mount. Then you want to adjust your altitude a little bit so you have room to insert your counterweight bar. Alright, so now for the technical specs or any general need to know information for anyone looking to purchase the mount. The payload is 77 pounds. It accepts both Vixen and D style saddles. It has an onboard USB hub with auxiliary and power ports. We'll get to all of that soon enough. Now, it does not come with a polar scope, but there is a polar alignment feature in the hand controller, and we highly recommend the Polar Alignment Wizard in Sharp Gap. As for weight, the mount head weighs 33 pounds and the tripod weighs 34.5 pounds. This isn't necessarily something you want to be lugging in and out every single night, and we'll get to that as well. So to give you an idea about what this mount and the balancing process looks like, I've taken my 32-pound 10-inch Newtonian off of my CEM60 and I've loaded it onto the CQ-350. Now, we all appreciate buttery smooth RA and deck axes for nice smooth balancing. Balancing the Newtonian was super smooth in both the RA and the deck axis. It did remind me of my CEM60. That thing is buttery smooth, and the CQ-350 is the exact same way. There's no stiction, no tension. It's very nice. You do want to make sure you reduce the likelihood of cable snags on your equipment or cables dragging while the mount is slewing. The CQ-350 comes with several auxiliary USB and 12-volt power ports for cable management. This USB hub and power hub is just going to allow you to streamline your cable management, and nothing beats good cable management. Besides round stars, there's nothing better than round stars. If you look on the side of the RA, the side panel has all of the inputs. To connect your camera and your imaging equipment, the USB 3.0 port is what you'll be using. On the left side of the declination saddle, you also have auxiliary output ports. This USB 2.0 port on the front is what you're going to be using for PC control. We will be talking about connections and how to connect your telescope, how to connect your ASI Air in our next video with the performance review. And finally, we have the 12-volt power ports. The power port on the side is what powers the deck axis hub, not the mount itself. You are limited to 5 amps on that declination hub, so we don't recommend that you use dew heaters along with your camera. Now, if you're using a DSLR, a dew heater or two should be fine, but just don't exceed 5 amps of draw. So my first impressions, final thoughts, pros, cons. First impression was that this mount is very well made. The tripod is extremely stable. all good things there. The first pro worth noting, I think, is the size of the alt-azimuth adjustment knobs for polar alignment. They are big and they're going to save you a lot of headache, especially if you are adjusting them out in the field when it's cold outside. They're just buttery smooth. Way to go, Skywatcher. Secondly, of course, is the USB hub, and for cable management, being able to have all of the access to those USB 3.0 ports on your deck axis is going to be a huge advantage for those who like streamlined cable setups. And another pro is the setup time. Although it's somewhat heavy, the mount was very simple to set up, and it didn't take a long time at all. So if you're out in the field setting up, you take this to a dark sky site, should you have the room, setting up the mount is not going to take you a very long time. So as far as cons go, the first one that I noticed was that the declination hub is on the front of this declination saddle and not on the back. I'm assuming that for those who use refractors and they have their imaging set up towards the back of the declination saddle are going to wish that it was back there just so they don't have to wrap cables around to the front. And also those with Schmidt-Cassegrains or RCs, but maybe those for Newtonians like myself, I can just route the cables directly down to the declination axis and I don't have to wrap it back around. I'm not sure if this is going to be a pro, if it's going to be a con. Just the fact that there's cable management is pretty awesome. The next thing that I noticed was that on the RA axis you have input cables. Now those are going to move with your RA axis as it's slewing across the sky or doing meridian flips. This may cause cable snags around the counterweights. Again, something that we're going to test during our performance test when we have clear skies. This may just be a non-issue. We'll find out. And the last is that there is no polar scope, but this may be a moot point at this point. Astrophotography and mounts and equipment has come such a long way. Again, there is the polar alignment method through the hand controller and the other recommended method, which is through Sharp Cap. Other than that, there weren't any cons. My first impressions were fantastic. I can't wait to get this mount out under the stars and see how it works. I think it's going to be a pretty awesome experience. Alright, so who exactly is this mount made for? It's a good option for those with a large 5 or 6 inch refractor, those who have a 10 to 12 inch Newtonian, or even 11 to 14 inch Schmidt-Cassegrain. Now, given the size of this mount, it is highly recommended that you keep this set up either on a pier with a telegizmo, or maybe you have it permanently set up on a tripod. This is essentially for the serious astrophotographer who has their mind set on creating some high quality photos. Alright, well that is it for our video. We thank you so much for staying tuned. If you want to see a performance review, stick around because we will have that up as soon as possible. We're just waiting on clear skies. If you've liked this video, please remember to like this video, share it, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our future content on astronomy and astrophotography. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below, or feel free to contact the High Point team at highpointscientific.com, and our product experts will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you so much, and clear skies.